We give thanks to you, O God. We give thanks, for your name is near. We recount your wondrous deeds. At the set time that I appoint, I will judge with equity. When the earth totters and all its inhabitants, it is I who keep steady its pillars. I say to the boastful, do not boast. And to the wicked, do not lift up your horn. Do not lift up your horn on high, or speak with a haughty neck. For not from the east or from the west, and not from the wilderness comes lifting up, but it is God who executes judgment, putting down one and lifting up another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup with foaming wine well mixed, and he pours out from it, and all the wicked of the earth shall drain it to the dregs. But I will declare it forever. I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked I will cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be lifted up. Psalm 75 is among those psalms you may have remembered from when Dustin shared that they are among psalms where the author is wrestling. In Psalm 74, the author was wrestling with God, are you going to do something here? And it seems that in this psalm, we hear a little bit of a reply from God, even though we also hear from Asaph himself. He says, we give thanks to you, O God. We give thanks for your name is near. And we remember your wondrous deeds. Sometimes it is difficult in situations where we find ourselves being persecuted. We see awful things around the world and we go, where are you? And yet we can be thankful. Christian, we can be thankful because not only is God's name near, his spirit dwells within us. We can recount even his wondrous deeds, how he has saved us. He saved us from our sin, from our wickedness. But here we also then hear ostensibly from the Lord, either through the voice of a prophet or just Asaph as he's writing for the Lord. And he says this, at the set time I appoint, I will judge with equity. A couple things. At God's timing. Justice is God's timing. It's not our timing. It's not my timing. And God very cleanly and very plainly says, I will establish equity. I will judge with equity. We long for that. We long for things to be made right. We want that. That is the sign of a good judge. And the Lord even says something here. He says, you may think everything is falling apart. When the earth totters and all its inhabitants, oh my gosh, everything around me is falling apart. And yet God is saying, I'm holding the pillars together. That sounds so much like the author of Hebrews when he says in chapter 1 that Jesus upholds all things by the word of his power. I pray that every time I get into an airplane. Jesus, will you please hold this plane up by the word of your power? And then he warns the wicked and the boastful. You think you know it all. You think you have control. Don't boast. We think that our political leaders have control. We maybe think that the UN has the ability to stop wars. Obviously, we see that it doesn't. We see all of these various things, wars, rumors of wars, leaders doing crazy things. We see all this and we think, God, are you going to execute judgment? And God himself is saying, hey, don't boast in that. You who think you are something. And he even speaks to the wicked. Do not lift up your horn, right? The horns of an animal oftentimes are used for establishing dominance. You think of those rams when they butt heads with each other to establish who gets to be the alpha. And then the psalmist returns and says, for not from the east or from the west, and not from the wilderness comes lifting up. But it is God who executes judgment. God's going to do it. It's not going to be a foreign power from the east or from the west. It's not going to be a prophet from the wilderness. It is going to be God himself who executes judgment. And he is going to put one down. He's going to lower one down and lift another up. And then the author of the psalm here gives us a scene which I think we'll remember. A scene of a cup. In the hand of the cup, in the hand of the Lord, there is a cup, and it's a foaming wine. It's mixed with spirits. This was a cup that if you took it, you'd stagger, right? You'd be down. And we're reminded of Jesus' prayer in the garden. Lord, if it be possible, please take this cup from me, yet not your will. This cup was for judgment upon the earth, for all of us, for what we deserve. There is none righteous, Paul would say in Romans chapter 3. And yet Jesus took that cup. It's important to remember that. There is justice coming. It's going to be terrible. It is not going to be something that is it's not a pleasant experience, sometimes even to watch justice being served. But Jesus himself took that cup and he drained it down to the dregs for you and for me. I hope that actually gives us confidence, even in that dark day when we might be watching the judgment of God come upon. We can know that we have peace with God. We can be like the psalmist and give thanks to God, for his name is near. In fact, he gives us a new name. He even names us himself. He puts his spirit in us. We can be saved from the wrath that is to come because of what Christ has done. And then the psalmist finishes the psalm by saying, I will declare it forever. I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked I will cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be lifted up. Those who are wicked, who are battling for dominance, they're not going to get it. God will take us, those of us who have trusted in Christ and have his name written on our foreheads. We will reign with him. He will lift up our horn. He will lift us up and we will reign with him. Paul writes in the book of Ephesians. He has lifted us up because of his great love with which he loved us. Jesus took that cup. The justice is coming. God himself will judge. But Christian, we have no fear. We can rejoice because God himself has delivered us from the wrath that is to come and actually will seat us, even has seated us with Christ.